Cheers, Trish.
Today, my name is Aaron. I'm coming at you live from Singapore.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening.
Chips for everybody.
Chips for everybody, yes. That would be an FYI.
We have Oleg and Mark. How's it going? Welcome to the stream and thanks for joining us.
I'm in San Francisco Bay Area, a little less snow than you guys see up.
How's it going, Tommy?
Hey guys, how are you?
Speaker? Daniel, how's it going?
Hi, good, thanks.
Is Azure function is just an entry point to Hey, what's up, everyone? Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone who's joining us, wherever you're joining us from. I'm so glad that we're doing this again. Welcome to another live coding event from Solace. Today it's going to be an interesting event because we will be going over the new Solace PubSub Plus features. I am Tamimi. My name is Tamimi. I'm a developer advocate at Solace, and I'm currently located in Amman, Jordan. Right now, I'm joining you from Jordan, and it is 6 p.m. The weather is pretty hot here right now. Anyone who's joining us, please put in the comment section, whether you're joining us on YouTube, Twitter, or LinkedIn, put in the comment section below where you're joining us from. Let us know what country, city, state you're joining us from, and I will be reading the comments as we're getting in. So we have a couple people from LinkedIn joining us, and I can see here some comments are coming from YouTube as well, which is great. So right now, what we have people from France as well. That's awesome. All right, so as people are trickling in, and I'm just going to give you a quick overview of what we'll be doing today. So as I mentioned, I will be joined by my colleague, Ray. He's the customer training manager at Solace. And we'll be going over 5 new features in the Solace PubSub Plus Event Broker from 10.0 and onward. We chose some of the top 5 that we wanted to present over here. Before I get started, I'm just going to give you a quick overview on the Solace community. Some of the reasons why you all should join the Solace community. So if you go to solace.community, we have 5 reasons to join the Solace community. It is an expert forum. So for those of you who do not know the Solace community, it's a forum where people discuss topics about event-driven architecture. You get early access to new products and APIs and features that we release Solace. And you get insider visibility on roadmap, opportunity to connect with other peers in the industry, and finally, of course, exclusive swag. I can see here people joining us. Amar, hey Amar, hope you're doing well. We have Omar as well joining us from France. We have a couple of people joining us from Dubai. Thank you for joining us on this call. Amar, you're joining us from Pakistan. Welcome, good evening to you too. And we've got people as well joining from India. So as you're trickling in right now, let us know where you're joining us from. And without further ado, I will be introducing my colleague, Ray, shortly. So, Ray, how's it going? How are you?
Hello, I'm good. How are you doing?
I am doing well. I'm doing well. I'm so happy to have you here today. And we have two of you today. So we have
do.
Ray and his
Yeah,
twin.
I like doing the dual
Oh,
thing.
man.
I could
This is
shut that
cool.
down at some point. It's probably better. I
I
was
like
seeing
it.
the way that you were doing the focus on me, and it only cut like a small
Oh, yeah,
thing, so-
when I had this focus here.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
Exactly.
let's do it. This focus, and then we start with the real coding. We'll do the twin as well. How are you, Ray? Where are you joining us from?
So I am joining you from Cantley, Quebecistan, which is close to the Ottawa office, but up on the Quebec side where the real estate is cheaper.
Nice. All right. And Ray, what do you do at Solace?
So I'm the customer training manager. I basically create all of the content when it comes to customer training. And then I also manage Solace Academy. I create the monthly feature highlights that we do here at Solace.
Right. Yeah. And if anyone is on the Solace community, you would see Ray had posted a couple times in the Solace community on a monthly basis the different features that are supported or like highlighted in the new release. So thanks for that, Ray. Thanks for keeping the community active. And
yeah,
we need to send you more swag, Ray. We need to get you more swag.
I always enjoy swag.
Fantastic. Ravi, hello from San Diego. Thanks for joining us from San Diego. Again, anyone who's just joining us now on whatever platform you're joining us, let us know where you're joining us from, and Ray and I will go over the features. So, Ray, what are we going to be doing today?
So today we're going to talk about and demo a few features.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go right here. So we'll be talking about all of these features and come from our PubSub Plus broker starting at version 10.0 and going up there. So we have the copy one message to an endpoint, which is the ability to take a message that's either in a queue or inside of replay and copy it to a specific endpoint.
Right.
We have delete all messages in a queue, which is a feature that everybody's been wanting to just clear a queue out. We have topic filtering with message replay, which we're only going to do once, despite what the list says.
Yes.
And that's the ability to kind of pinpoint your replays to filter only one topics you're looking at. And then we're also going to take a look at the ability to replay to a temporary queue.
Great. Okay, this is awesome. So we'll be going over this before we get started. So anyone who's on the live stream right now, let us know if there is any one of these features that you're most excited about to see today. And if you have any questions up front, feel free to put it in the chat as well, and we will get to it. So I'm glad to see a couple people on LinkedIn as well chatting, and the comments are flowing in. So Ray, let's go ahead and get started. Which one would you like to start with today?
Let's start from the beginning, which is the copy one message to an endpoint.
Okay, perfect. So I will I removed your screen from the screen. Get your stuff set up, and you could probably put whatever. You could invite your twin as well to join.
Well, no, the copy one message one is not one of the ones that we'll be live coding. We'll be going through the JSON. Oh wait, you missed one on there. You didn't put one on there.
Oh, the JSON, the Syslogs JSON one.
So the other thing that we're going to discuss is going to be outputting your Syslogs in a JSON format instead of the standard RFC format.
Okay, so if anybody's using Syslog, this is coming. Yeah, I knew that I forgot something. Some LinkedIn user is excited about the topic filtering, but the second topic filtering that we mentioned on the list. So okay, stay tuned for this. So Ray, let's start with one then.
Right. So the copy one message to an endpoint feature. So back before Solace 10.0, handling guaranteed messages that had like surpassed their redelivery attempt count or the time to live value had expired. There used to be a couple of messages on how these were dealt, a couple of like options on how these were dealt with. The easiest, but by far the most destructive, was to just simply let these messages be discarded. Now, this could be a problem, especially if you want to troubleshoot why a message might have been discarded in the first place. The other option was to set up a dead message queue. This would allow your messages that were meant to be discarded to go into this dead message queue instead.
Right.
So while it saved the messages from ultimately being destroyed, the ability to process the messages again was like a really cumbersome process to actually get happening. So in 10.0.0, we included this copy one message to an endpoint feature. So this is a Solace, this is a CLI command, and there's also a SEMP command available for it. And it allows the ability to copy a message from one queue to another queue.
This is great because I remember we've been requested this feature, like a couple people in the community kind of asked about this feature, the ability to copy messages between queues. And we've had people doing kind of their own implementation of doing message copying. Right now, you could do it from CLI, as Ray has mentioned.
Yeah. So like, for example, like when a message would come into a broker and then end up in the dead message queue because like a consuming application is down. Now that we have this copy message feature, like once the application support team figures out why the application is down and gets it up and running again, they can actually use the copy message feature to copy that message out of the dead message queue and back into its original queue so that the application can consume that message again.
Okay. Would we be able, do you think we could show it in action?
Yeah, I could probably set something up. Sure.
All right.
All right. So let me get, here we go. Let's get a VPN up. All right.
You got a call out, Ray, on YouTube.
Oh, did I?
OMG, Flame Bud. So you got some people giving you a call out, a shout out.
That's not even related to tech at all. That's one of my bosses at Ottawa Footy Sevens, where I play soccer.
Sweet. All right.
Hilarious.
Flame Bud in action.
All right.
Your screen is shared.
Yeah. Okay. So let's start. We'll create a queue. I'm just going to be really easy and call it first queue.
Okay. Sweet.
Makes sense. Okay. And then what am I going to do? Let's create a second queue as well, because we want two queues to work with. And then do I need to make this bigger?
No, it looks, well, yeah, if you can make it bigger, that'd be good.
Let's just do that. It might mess with the UI a little bit. And now what we'll do is we'll actually go into the Try Me tab.
Okay.
And we're going to connect to the broker. And we're going to publish to our queue.
Cool.
Hello, YouTube and LinkedIn.
And Twitter.
And Twitter. Live streaming on Twitter too? I didn't agree to that.
Yes. Well, I tagged you, so you're going to see it after the after the stream.
All right. So we hit publish, and we can see that we now have a message published. If we go back into our queues,
sweet,
we can look at our first queue and see that we have the message queued.
Right.
Now, in order to use the copy message function, we need the replication ID, the replication ID right here. So we're going to take that and we're going to, oh, what are you doing? There we go. I'm going to Control C, which you're not going to see. And then I will open up right here. And so this is my terminal window. Now you need to be in the actual CLI. So depending on what broker you're using, that affects how you connect to your CLI. Since I have a Docker container, I'm actually going to run this Docker execute command right here. And that'll get me into the CLI. Oh, I got to change the container name right there.
Yeah. There's a tip that I learned before, like a long time ago. If you just type Docker exec, active like IT, and then put the Solace Docker name. Yeah. And just type CLI without doing this.
Oh yeah.
Stuff because
CLI
and it goes directly. Yeah, so it will go directly into CLI. So that will be quicker.
All right, I'll know that for next time. Thank you for that, sir.
No worries.
Okay. So now that we're in the CLI, we got to get down to our message spool level. So we're going to go into, you're going to type enable, and then we go into our admin, and we go to message spool, message VPN, and specify the VPN name, which is default. And then we will do copy message, source, queue first queue. So here we're saying we're going to run the copy message command. We're specifying that the source is a queue with the name first queue. And then we're going to specify the destination is also a queue with the name second queue.
Nice.
And then we want to specify that we're copying message, and we're going to use that ID right there.
Nice.
Which is the ID of that message that we had.
So copy message.
Type that in, and I've broken it. Of course I did.
Okay.
Oh, you know what it was? Let me go back, because if I remember correctly, do I got to copy this whole thing? Or am I missing?
Maybe without the RMID, or you have to put the RMID.
No. Must be a valid replication group message ID of the form. 5, and then a bunch. Like, I really don't think that number is long enough, is it? Right here. What am I? Oh, do you know? Let's see if this does it.
Okay,
I was zoomed out.
In.
I couldn't see the whole ID. All right,
good.
There we go. There we go. Oh, it was all like. Okay, it's noted. It was all. You see that? It was all.
It looked like a message ID.
Yeah, it looked like there was another one. There was a replication group and then a message ID.
Okay.
That's not complicated. All right, let's go back. We're going to take that same whole command. So copy message. We're specifying first queue as our source and second queue as our destination. Put our ID in, and there we go. We get no error messages. And then if we come back, look in our second queue.
Bam!
We now have a message queued up right there.
Nice.
And it's its own message. It's got its own replication ID because it just replicates the message, right? So it's not moving the message from one to another. It's creating a new message that's essentially a duplicate of the other message.
That's very cool, because I can see like a lot of use cases for this. Some people would want to kind of like, let's say that your queue is filled with messages and you want to test out something else. So you create another queue. And if you know the replication group ID for the particular set of messages that you want, you could just replicate, copy the messages from one queue to the other, and then do your testing on it and keep the message without kind of like worrying about the messages in the first queue.
Yeah. It's great for troubleshooting. It's great for development and testing. You know, all around those types of situations is where this is very helpful.
Cool. That's great. A user on LinkedIn was like, they want an enhancement request for the zooming so that all right, noted.
I feel bad for our UX people that I show off these things, because UX is always troublesome when it comes to things like zooming and different resolution sizes and stuff, right?
Yeah. Cool. Well, first feature down. So for those of you who are on the stream, let us know if this was a feature that you would like, if this is a feature that you'd be using or not. Yeah, thanks, Ray, for showing this. And again, all the CLI commands, most of the CLI commands that you'll be seeing here right now, you could do them with SEMP, our SEMP v2, our management API. And if commands are only found on CLI, not on SEMP, you have the option of doing it on SEMP and CLI. Anything from a management perspective on the broker could be done in 3 different ways, either using the CLI or the REST API, which is the SEMP v2 API, or through the UI itself if the feature is available on the user interface, pretty much on what you're seeing over here on the Solace PubSub Plus message broker management console. All right, cool.
All right, so are we moving on to the next one?
Let's move on to the next one.
Next, delete all messages in a queue. All right, you want me to show off this one, or you want to do it?
Yeah, you could show it off and send a couple messages to the same queue.
I'm doing all the work, and you're just all right.
All right, I'm just the MC for today.
I got you. All right, so we have had quite a few people asking for this feature. It's basically just the ability that when you have a full queue, you want to be able to clear it out. Can you think of any use cases that you've heard of where that would be?
We've had, I don't know if a particular use case, but we've had like requests, people asking they want to flush out the queue. One ways that people used to do it is bind a consumer to a queue that just flushes out the queue and just takes everything. And this could be done as well with like SDK perf, which is a CLI command line tool.
It just doesn't feel good though, right?
Yeah. To just like do
a
bind
something together.
Just like flush it out. So now we have the ability to explicitly do it from the UI and from SEMP as well, the delete all messages.
Yeah, so there's the delete all messages in SEMP, and then from the UI, you can just go into a queue. And on the summary page, if you look under actions now, there's this delete all messages. So click on that and make sure that you're not crazy. You click on delete all messages, and all your queue is completely cleared out.
Clears out the queue. Okay, cool. So again, this was a request that was that we worked on, and it's right now in the latest version of the Solace PubSub Event Broker. For those of you who are in the community, and that's 0.1. For those of you who are on the Solace community, you will see that we made a post about it, and we made an update about this, that this is part of the broker right now.
What do we have next? Topic filtering with message replay.
So now we're doing topic. Yeah, people have asked about this topic filtering with message replay. Let's actually put it over here. So for people joining, they'll see what we are doing. All right. So we're doing topic filtering with message replay right now.
So in case anybody on the stream doesn't know, I'll quickly explain message replay. So message replay is a PubSub Plus feature that allows a broker to resend messages to newer existing clients that request them, either hours or even days after those messages were first received by the broker. So like with replay enabled, brokers store persistent messages in a replay log. And these messages are kept until the log is full, and then which then cycles through and starts deleting the oldest messages in order to add new messages into the actual replay log. Now, once you have messages in this log, a replay itself can be initiated, and this can be done by broker commands, or client applications can use the APIs in order to initiate a replay. And then when initiated, you can either request all messages in a replay log, or you can specify like a specific replication ID to start your replay from, or you can even specify like a time where you want to start your replay from. And then from that requested start point, the event broker will deliver to either the queue or the topic endpoint the messages from the replay log that match any subscriptions on that queue or topic endpoint. And then the replay stream will eventually join up with the stream of live messages, and the application doesn't have to do anything to switch over from replay to live. It's automatically happening. So that is a quick summary of what replay is. In terms of the configurable topic filtering, in 10.0, we basically gave the ability to decide exactly which messages are going to be retained in a replay log. So before 10.0, you would just say, I want a replay log. You'd specify a size for the replay log, and all messages that came in would, all persistent messages that came in would go into that replay log. But now with 10.0, using the same wildcard and exception support that's available for consumer topics, you can choose exactly which events that a replay should care about and log. Yeah, so that's what configurable topic filtering is. There are a couple of reasons why you would use configurable topic filtering. For one example, let's say you wanted to have a replay log, but you only wanted to focus on critical messages. So by using configurable topic filtering, you're specifying exactly what messages that you want replayed, you want in your replay log, and not caring about messages that you don't really care about within the replay log. Another reason you might want to use the configurable topic filtering is to expand the length of time that a replay can happen. Because if you're using configurable topic filtering, you're keeping away the messages that are useless to you from the replay log. So let's say you have a replay log that is, you specified 500 megs. Well, if you didn't have configurable topic filtering, depending on your messages that come in, you could have 30, 50, 70% of your replay log be useless messages that you don't care about. But if you enable configurable topic filtering and you configure exactly which topics you want inside of your replay log, then your replay log can last for a much longer time.
Perfect. Yeah, and this this ability kind of like topic, I personally see topic filtering with Solace is a very interesting, like we implement we implement replay with Solace in a very interesting way where you could replay messages from time or from a message ID. And now with topic filtering, you can even specify more things like your message replay becomes more advanced with this feature, with the ability of adding some topic filtering on all the messages that you replay on your replay queue.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess I could probably show quickly what it looks like
in action.
So if you're on the manager and you come over to replay, this is where you would create a replay log. You specify a size, and now there is this topic filtering enabled button right here that you can enable like this. And then when you have that enabled, you now have this subscriptions section right here.
Mm-hmm.
And then over on subscriptions, you can do the exact same thing that you do with normal subscriptions. So you could say like Gameco, retail, APAC, and then you want everything that you only care about messages that are coming from the APAC region, for example.
Yeah, or if you want like the greater than, and then you would put like everything. So you could use any of the wildcards, whether the asterisk wildcard or the greater than wildcard.
Yeah. So we could do like that, right? And anything that comes in from the APAC region will show up in here. I hope I did my subscription right.
Yeah, no, it looks good.
Yeah. Okay. So once we have that, we can come in here and we can say we're already connected, and we could say that we want to publish to Gameco retail /APAC store 14. And this is a Gameco use case that I'm actually using now in my courses on Solace Academy. So if you look at the new event portal course that's available, event portal fundamentals course that's available for the new event portal that's coming out, that's only in early access at the moment, you'll see this use case. But so I'm saying store 14, we'll have an employee where it started their shift. The shift started like that. We'll say it's a direct message and the time they started their shift. I'm just going to be really quick here and just say today. Like that.
Sweet.
Okay, so we could do that. And you see we had our previous message, but now we have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, and when we come over to our replay, and can we do a refresh? Maybe I did it wrong. Did I do the subscription wrong? I might have done the subscription wrong. Is it?
No,
do I put that after the slash?
No, so you got the subscription right. Do you need to?
It's persistent messages.
Yes.
Sorry, replay is only for persistent messages.
Right.
Sorry, my bad, everybody.
Because it's gonna go to a queue and you're gonna replay from that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
All right. So Gameco retail APAC store 14 had an employee who started their shift.
And do you have to trigger the replay? Like if you have a queue that attracts this.
So if I want to consume the replay, but we're not really showing that right now.
Okay.
Right? All we really care about is showing how the filtering is happening.
Yes.
So let's do this. We have 6 persistent messages. And then what I'm actually going to do is open this up in a new tab so I don't lose that. So now we have 6 messages logged here. But if we were to change this and we were to say EMEA and publish another 7 messages, and then come look here, you can see that we still only have 6 messages logged.
Okay.
Because our subscription is only for APAC and we don't care about these EMEA messages that have happened, we don't see them in the replay log.
Interesting.
So that's how configurable topic filtering really helps.
So now this replay log only has the messages that matches the topic pretty much that you specified, only because you've enabled topic filtering when you started this replay log.
I enabled topic filtering on the replay log and I set up the subscriptions of what I wanted.
Okay. Yeah. And so now when you trigger replay, the messages will be sent pretty much on the same topic that they were sent on to that replay log.
The same topic? Yes.
Yeah.
So it'll be replayed to the same. So if you had, let's say, for example, for some reason you had a queue that only cared about store 12. What would happen here is that your replay would store everything from APAC, and then the replay would happen, and the replay would go through. And if the queue only cared about store 12 and not store 14, it wouldn't get any of these store 14 messages. Just as
okay. I see what you mean. Awesome. All right. So again, people in the stream, let us know what you think about this new feature. If you have any questions, just put it in the chat.
I had a question.
Let me check.
Looking in the chat here, can access to this queue clear feature be restricted? So the delete all messages.
Yes.
I mean, restricted in the sense of like, no. I'm pretty sure the answer is no. You can't have specific, although
if I get this question correct, maybe it's from like if it's around role-based access control, like restricting who can clear it. This is something that I'll have to check and see if the ability to clear messages on a queue can be restricted for a specific user type. So like if role-based access control is enabled for clearing messages on a queue.
Yeah, that's something we'd have to look into and get back on.
Thanks for the question, Jameson. All right, so moving on to the next feature, Ray. So we have the replay to temporary queue. So this feature,
a temporary queue. Okay, so replaying. Hold on, let me get my notes up. So before PubSub plus 10.0.0, it wasn't really possible to have the Solace replay feature replay to a temporary queue.
Which is like a non-durable queue.
So non-durable queue.
Yeah, the ability to replay to a non-durable queue was not available or was not possible.
Yeah, there were quite a few challenges specifically that were related to this. But one of the biggest ones had to do with timing. So when I don't know if Tamimi killed himself or not. I thought you killed yourself from this.
I'm here. No, I'm here.
I thought you like cut your connection. All right. So one of the issues was timing. When a replay was initiated by a client, and that's bound to a queue, since the client is bound to a non-durable queue immediately on creation, like the way that the APIs worked is that a client would create and bind to the queue at the same time. So there was no real ability to add subscriptions to the queue before replay started. Right. So that was one of the big issues involved with that. And one of the reasons why allowing replay to a temporary queue wasn't really possible. So in 10.0.0, we enabled the ability to replay to a temporary queue with the help of queue templates. So with a queue template, you can create like a durable queue from the client side. But when you specify the queue name, that matches a queue template. And that queue template has the durability override set to non-durable. That allows you to create the temporary queue and set up your subscriptions before starting the replay.
And I think right here, kind of the main kind of like feature that was added within this is the durability override. Is being able to overwrite the durability from a temporary, by using queue templates. So if from a client side, like let's say you have a messaging application and you're using a messaging API, you're creating a non-durable queue. If the name matches the filter that you create in your template, then all the settings that were added on the queue template, including the durability override, will be added to this queue. So it includes the one hack around for this to replay to a temporary queue is it includes the creation of queue templates and the configuring of queue templates so that we can go ahead with this feature.
Right, exactly. So a couple of reasons why you might want to do message replay with a temporary queue. There are some common ones that people have wanted to implement. For example, the ability to browse messages in a replay log. They want to like create an application that, you know, that connects to the replay log, and you can browse through the messages, but you don't want messages to keep queuing up from the replay log if you're done with the application and you shut it down, right? Which is basically all use cases that I've seen have been around that kind of idea of you want the ability to look at the replay log, but once the application is done, once you're done using it, the queue doesn't stick around and messages don't keep, you know, building up inside of a queue that you don't care about anymore.
Yeah.
So to do this, first thing you need to do is you need to create a replay log. I'm going to delete this one actually, and I'm going to create a new one just because that goes with my, it works well with my, my walkthrough that I do.
Okay.
And then after that, we want to add some messages to it. So we're going to connect, and the messages that we're going to do are going to be persistent. And we're going to, I'm going to use this one right here. We have this message saying that in store 15 of APAC, in our game code use case, this specific game was scanned at the counter. Right? So we have this. I'm going to just put a time of when it was scanned into the message content here and hit publish, and hit publish a bunch of times, just like that. So now we'll have 10 messages, 12 messages sitting in our replay log, right? The next thing we have to do is then create our queue template. So if we go up to queues here, and then we go to our templates, we can create a template. And we will name this one, I don't know, temporary template create. And what we need to do is we need to actually specify a filter. So what I'll do here is I'll take this one because it works well with our code, our Python code that we have. So this filter is basically saying any queue that's created that starts with temp-training / and then anything afterwards uses the same wildcardable pattern that we can use for subscriptions. So any queue that is created that matches this will have the settings from this queue template applied to it. And so the key thing here for what we're trying to do is in our advanced settings, we want to set the durability override to make sure that any queue that is created with starting with temp training will be a non-durable queue. Right. So we set the durability override in the advanced settings to non-durable and click on apply. And now we have our queue template. So in our code, when we create our connection and stuff, we'll specify a name that starts with that, and that will actually create the queue as non-durable, and it'll still allow us to do replay to it.
Right. And this feature as well, Ray, allows us or gives us the ability to create a named non-durable queue from a messaging API. Because one of the things with non-durable queues as well, if they are created, let's say if you're using a JMS API and you're connecting and you're creating a non-durable queue, or if you're able to create a non-durable queue from a messaging API, is there will be an auto-generated name to this queue if it's non-durable. So with this ability, we're able to create a non-durable queue with a given name to it.
Right, exactly. So now that we have that, we have, and I don't know if you want to figure out a way to get that link to everybody who's watching the live stream, but we have this code, and this code actually also sits inside a public gist that I have created on GitHub. And this code is a Python application, and all it does is it connects to the broker, it creates a temporary queue using the queue template, and then it just spits out the messages that were from the replay log.
Right, and just a confirmation here that this is it uses our Solace PubSub Plus messaging API for Python, and in the actual code, you'll see it. I think maybe Ray will show it. It just shows that we're using the Python API, and you could check out the samples if you go to github.com/Solace samples. I will put it on the screen shortly. You will see all the samples for the different messaging APIs as well on how to use the Python API, and the documentation as well on the Solace docs if you want to see how do you want to trigger replay from the Python API. Ray has already put together a sample, and we'll be seeing it now.
Yeah, so here you can see that we use the Solace PubSub Plus library for Python. And then there's a lot of code that I don't have to specifically go through everything. I'll just go through the important parts. So you can see here that we have our queue name right here. And we're creating a durable exclusive queue, but because the queue name is starting with the temp-training, like we specified in our filter, it's going to apply those settings, and it's going to end up being a non-durable queue. And then once we have that, we have our subscription saying we want to see all of the games that have been scanned in the APAC region. That's what our topic subscription here will show. And we want to see all the messages from replay. So here we actually create it. We create our receiver, and we start up our receiver.
One thing here I want to point out is on line 93 is you're creating a persistent message receiver with line 90 with a missing resource creation strategy. What this does is it would create a persistent message receiver, tries to bind to the queue that we defined here, and realizes that the queue does not exist. So with this flag, or with this function does is it creates a queue resource on the broker following whatever we've defined for our queue.
Right, exactly. So once we have that, we can run our Python. And you can see all of the messages here, which it would have been smarter to like make them different for each one to show the scroll through. Here is all of our messages from the queue. And then it's a little delayed to show, but I could probably show it really quickly. If we look at the list of queues, so we have this queue here that was created. You can see, where is it? Boom. You can see that it's non-durable. The durability is set to no. The replay state is complete. And eventually, I don't know how long it takes for it to disappear. Yeah, I know. Eventually, you will see that this queue no longer exists on the broker.
It takes 60 seconds. So
is it 60 seconds?
It should take 60 seconds.
Oh, yes, you're right.
Yes.
Once you disconnect from a non-durable queue, you have 60 seconds to reconnect in order to save the queue. Otherwise, bye-bye.
Okay, so this is great. Let's step back here a little bit and kind of see what just happened. So pretty much from the application that we have, from the messaging application that we did, is we created a queue from directly the messaging application, even though that this queue was set to have a durability queue, but because the name of the queue that we created matches the template that we configured on the Solace broker, then the durability will be overridden by the broker pretty much. So this means that the queue that got created on the broker became a non-durable queue that has a named queue name with the topic subscription added to it. So this queue that gets created will have this topic subscription to it. It attracted all the messages in the replay log because we triggered the message replay strategy that replays all the messages pretty much. And then once the client disconnects, you see now the queue gets deleted because it is a non-durable queue. Awesome. Is the replay log empty or no, Ray?
No, because an application consumes messages from the replay log doesn't mean those messages get removed from the replay log.
Yeah.
So you can have multiple applications that are connecting to and utilizing replay.
Could you run the Python application again? I just want to show the subscription that got added to the queue to it.
That got added to the queue?
Yeah, so now the queue is not there.
Yeah.
Awesome. So
there we go.
okay, great. So now the subscription is also added to the queue. And if you see the application as well, it printed out all the messages that were received on this queue.
There you go.
Cool. Awesome. So this is the replay to temporary queue feature that we have. And then lastly, we do have one last feature, which is outputting to Syslog, outputting the Syslog in JSON format. So before we move forward, anyone on the stream, whether you're on LinkedIn, YouTube, or Twitter, let us know if you have any questions. And FYI, this will be a recorded session. You can see it again on YouTube after this. And this is, we have cherry picked some of the new features in the Solace PubSub Plus 10.0 onward version. All these will be discussed if you have any questions on the Solace community. So don't forget to join the Solace community after this. Ray, back to you.
Okay. I don't really have much to show here while I describe. So I'm just going to go back here and talk. So let me first explain what Syslogs are. The PubSub Plus broker generates syslog messages. So they're basically log files and log lines of messages to record events that occur on the broker. So these include things like routine operations, like clients connecting and disconnecting or changing command modes, failure and error conditions, like things like redundant power supply failures for hardware appliances. Also like emergency or critical conditions, things like when an appliance has a blade that's taken offline due to excessive temperature. So each syslog message identifies the software process or event broker subsystem that generated the message and briefly describes the operation or error that occurred. Now, these messages are written to log files on the local system and can be forwarded over network to a remote host. So for example, let's say you want to put all your log messages from all of your brokers in one place. Or you have a third-party monitoring system where you want to forward these log messages. That capability exists in PubSub Plus to forward those messages along. There are three types of syslogs in PubSub Plus. There are command logs, which stores all the CLI and SEMP commands sent to the broker. There are event logs, which stores all system, VPN, and client-level events that are generated by the broker. And then there's system logs, which stores important system level events that are generated by the broker. There's a couple of other logging categories that exist on brokers. There's like the ACL logs that tracks the last 1,000 ACL related logs. And there's also a log of the no subscription matches. So any messages that had no subscription matches for a particular topic are stored into the no subscription match logs. Mm-hmm. So before 10.0.1, and even now, the standard syslogs follow the RFC 3164 syslog logging convention. This is like a global standard of how syslogs are actually logged into a system. So while there is a standardization of the log format, there's some inherent issues that come with following these. Here, let me show you an example of like a syslog message. Let's see how I can do this. I'll do this here. Give me a new window. All right, so if you look at, here's an example of a syslog message. Right. Mm-hmm. Now the benefits of this format is that it's very compact. All of the information is available on one line, so you can put a whole bunch of lines into one file, right? It makes it easier to scan between messages. So if you're trying to find a problem, you're seeing a fairly standard format between all of the messages that are one after another. So you're seeing the time, the server, and the event type, the message. It's all coming in one big row, or one big line of messages. So it's easy to scan between them. And it's good because it follows like a particular standard, right? So anybody who's used to working with these log files will feel comfortable actually looking at these. If you're the kind of person who's looked at server files and you see these log files and you're used to them, you feel at home being able to look at these files and scan through them, right? The problem is that there's some drawbacks. They're not always human readable. Mm-hmm. They're a little difficult to look at sometimes, and your brain can go crazy trying to scroll through them. You need to know what you're looking at. So because they're meant to be compact, there's no header that's available for each message, and you need to know what each section is. So you need to know what local 3.notice means. You need to know what this identifier is for. You kind of need to know everything that's happening in the file in order to properly understand it, or at least quickly. And also these types of log lines can be quite difficult for automated systems to parse, right? If you want your logs to be ingested by another system that's not a human being, the system needs to be able to know how to get the information out of this one line here, which can be difficult and can lead to some crazy bugs. Now, if we looked at the same log line, but in a JSON format like this, and let me do this. I hope it's formatted properly. Clearly, it's not.
Maybe there's an opening.
There is an enter. There you go. So this is the same one, but in a JSON format. Now, while it definitely seems like a lengthier message here, it has its notable advantages. One of which being everything is identifiable, right? Every piece of information for this log has a key associated to it. So you know this is the time, you know this is the severity. It's very easy to see that when you're looking at a log line that's in JSON. The other big benefit of having your Syslogs in a JSON format, which is now available in 10.0.1, is that it's very easy for automated systems to ingest. Because this is a key value pair, a system just needs to know what keys to be looking for. And all it has to do is parse JSON, which is incredibly easy to do, and just look for the key in order to get the value that it wants. So what I can do is I can show how to actually make the change, and we'll kind of get like a look between the two. So here I got closed out. So I'm going to go back into my broker here. Excellent. And then I will see. So if I do show, and I might have actually already done it with this broker. No. Okay, perfect. So here, yes, I've done it with this broker. So if
what's the command that you did?
Yeah, don't worry. I'll do that again.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
So if I do show log event, right? Okay. What I'm saying is I want to see the event log. So if I did show log system, these are all of the logs for the system log, right? And here you're seeing everything inside of the standard RFC format, because I didn't do this with the system log. I only did it with the event log, right? So it's the same standard one. You got your timestamp at the beginning, and this is the identifier of the broker, but you kind of need to know what you're looking for here, right? Mm-hmm. Now what we want to do is we want to change this system log to actually use JSON instead. So we will do enable, and then we'll go to configure. We'll go into our logging section, and we're going to go to facility. Oh my God, facility. There we go. All right. So we got configure logging facility. And then what we want to do is we want to say, we want to change our system logs, and we want to change the message format to JSON. So there's two values that you can specify for this message format. There's JSON and there's text. So here we're going to say we want to specify JSON. It is going to indicate that the command can disrupt logging very quickly, which might result in a couple of logs being discarded. So you might want to do this when there's some downtime. But we say yes, we don't care. We want that to happen. And then now if we do show log system, we actually need something to happen is the problem. So, and an important thing to note is this will not confirm, this will not convert all of your logs into JSON. So if you look here, when I do the show log system, it's still showing all of these in the RFC format, but it's when, let me see if I can do something to kick off a system message. Let's do disconnect and a connect here. Will that work? These are still the old ones, yeah? 1242, what is it now? It's 56, yeah. Okay. Let me do the same thing, actually. So if we look at our show log event, we can see that these logs are all in our, JSON format, down at the bottom here. Which I believe should include disconnects, unless I'm mistaken. But we can do kind of the same backwards thing where we can say event message format text. Now, let's do a connect and disconnect. Disconnect, connect, send some messages around. Let's see if that changes things. Show log event, go down to the bottom. And now you can see that instead of it being in the JSON format here, it's now back into the RFC format. So it uses the timestamp, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't have that. So by specifying either event message format text or message format JSON, you can flip in between using the RFC format for your Syslogs or the JSON format for your Syslogs.
Yeah, this is pretty neat. I can see this being helpful for people who want to parse a syslog in a kind of like conventional manner, or if they already have their own system that parses different logs, and if the other logs has a JSON message format, so they just want to, follow the same JSON parsing strategy or process.
If you're using a third-party provider for your monitoring. Like so we have Solace PubSub Plus Insights, which allows you to do monitoring direct from your cloud brokers in one place. But let's say you're using someone like Datadog to handle all of your monitoring, right? And you want your logs to go over into Datadog, and you know that Datadog has JSON, supports JSON for system logs. Then you can switch your message format over to JSON, and then you can set up a destination to Datadog in order to to get your.
I'm assuming this would be like through syslog forwarding.
Yes, for the syslog forwarding.
Okay, yeah. This is neat. So we could do like a syslog forwarding with JSON format for this. Yeah.
And syslog forwarding now supports TLS, so you can securely send your syslogs wherever you need them to go.
Right. This is great. So like, thank you for going over this, Ray. And, I chose, we both chose those kind of a list of features from the features that were released on the new PubSub Plus broker. I saw the list of features from your blogs, Ray. So that was great. Where can we find your blogs that talk about kind of the highlights and mentions Solace Academy?
So every time that I create a new course or a monthly feature highlight, I will publish in Solace.community. Solace.community. So in Solace.community, there's a Solace training section. And if you look at this Solace training section, anytime I publish a new course or anytime I publish a monthly feature highlight, it gets put into this Solace training section. Additionally, if you go to solace.com/blog, anytime that I create a new monthly feature highlight or a new course, it goes into that as well.
Nice. Yeah. I see that Phil has found this very useful. Thank you, Phil, for your comments. Awesome. This is great. We did go over the 5 feature we picked for today, and we're at the top of the hour, so this is like great on timing. These are the 5. Well, we listed 4 in here. Topic filtering twice. The last one was syslog forwarding. It's typo on my end. So Ray, thank you very much for joining today and being the guest speaker for today's event. And thanks to everyone as well for joining us on this live streaming session. If you had any other questions, feel free to put it on the on the comment section, or come join the community and post it over there. You can tag Gray on the community as well to ask him any questions. But that was it. We are coming to an end to our live coding event for today. Ray, do you have any last words you want to say?
Well, no, thanks for having me. Sign up to Solace Academy if you want to get training on anything related to Solace. And I guess a big shout out to my family for staying quiet while I did this live stream. It's not easy when you have kids running around and everybody's working from home, but they did a great job of letting me do this.
Props to you, Ray. Thank you very much for this. And thanks everyone as well on the call. We'll wrap it up. Ray, if you can stick around for a bit, but that's about it, folks.
All right. Have a good one.
All right. Have a good one. Bye.
Living life every day, late at night, not okay. All I want